Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
One of 17, so we hadn't accomplished anything. So let's just put our head down, focus. The same thing that we did to get ready for Carolina in terms of our preparation, mentally, physically, emotionally, put our head down, go to work.
Dennis Allen on Monday after the Saints walloped the Carolina Panthers 47-10. Is walloped a good enough adjective to describe what happened on Sunday in the Superdome? Shellacked.
Oh,
Annihilated.
Oh, annihilate!'s better than wallop.
Manhandled, dismantled, embarrassed.
All of the above.
Anything better than that?
I like annihilated. I think we go with that.
Annihilated.
Humiliated.
47-10. My goodness gracious. Listen, there is no secret where I stand on this team. Where I stand on this team, quite honestly, is where most everybody has stood on this team going into the season. I picked Vegas had this team over under 7.5. I went under. I liked them 6-11. Looking at the schedule, the questions, all that sort of stuff. With the way they played in that opener, that is a pretty good indicator that they are looking to be way better than that. And if you are going to criticize, and Lord knows I have levied my fair share of criticism against the franchise, the front office, the head coach, the quarterback, all of it. And I would say it's justified. If you're going to levy criticism when things are bad, you have got to be humble enough and honest enough to give praise when things are good. And it would be totally disingenuous of me to sit here today and try to tell you, well, the Panthers stink and all that sort of stuff. Let me see what you do against a good team. There's a component of that. But y'all, 47 points. I don't care that Carolina stinks. Yes, this is probably your most winnable game on the schedule. Can we all agree to that? Carolina was the worst team in the NFL. You get them week one, new offense, at home, all that stuff. New coach for Carolina, everything. Your most winnable game. Yo, 47-10. The 47 points the New Orleans Saints scored are the most points they have ever scored in a week one game in the history of the franchise. The previous record was the 2009 team that, you'll have to refresh my memory, I think ended up pretty good. 47-10. Saints have now won 6 straight week one games, 6 straight openers. That's the longest such streak in the NFL. And I get it. We could look back to 2021 against Green Bay. Remember that one? First game post-Drew Brees era. By the way, that was a game that was moved because of a threat of a storm. They played that in Jacksonville. Do you remember that? Saints played their home opener in Jacksonville against Green Bay and beat the snot out of Aaron Rodgers 38-3. That team finished 9-8. I'll get more on how they finished here in a second. But let's run through it. I want to start with Derek Carr. On this show, I, not so affectionately, refer to Derek Carr as the Emperor of Empty Yards. Wasn't nothing empty about his yards on Sunday. Derek Carr, 19 of 23 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. The picture of efficiency. Let me paint a clearer picture of what I mean when I say the Emperor of Empty Yards. Put yourself on camera too, Paul. You're over there standing up. I mean, it can't just be me. Last year, in 5 of the Saints' losses, Derek Carr threw 4. 353 yards, 301 yards, 304 yards, 226 yards, 319 yards. That was Derek Carr's passing total in losses. The other losses, by the way, he threw for sub 200. He was around like 104, 109. Not good either way. I would rather the 19 of 23 for 200 yards and 3 tuds where you have a balanced attack and you're really efficient than Derek Carr throwing for 353 of garbage yards. That's why I call him the emperor of empty yards. Good that we got William standing too. Better learn or it's off with your head. Yes, that's the Derek Carr I want to see. Please be that guy. I've got a 10-year sample that says he's more the other guy, but if he can be that guy 16 more times, this is going to be a playoff team. I don't know if he can be, but that was magnificent. Beautiful deep ball to Shaheed. My God, scrambling around, the pass to Foster Moreau in the back of the end zone. What a great catch by Foster. It was awesome. Everything about it. Dime to Juwan Johnson, who made a great catch, toe tapping on the sideline to get a touchdown. Yes, awesome. All of it. Your defense forced 3 takeaways. Now, there were 2 awful throws by Bryce Young, who is really bad. I mean, can we just say now, like, it's really beneficial when your offensive line is better than everybody. You have all day to throw, and you've got NFL receivers everywhere who are better than everybody. Like, it's easy to be an Alabama quarterback. Look how bad Mac Jones and Bryce Young are in the NFL. Like, can we just all agree to that now? Anyway. But look, Will Harris, Jordan Howden come up with interceptions. Tyron still doing Tyron things. Forced fumble, recovered the fumble. D forces 3 takeaways. Awesome. Opportunistic, just like they were a year ago. Plus 11 in the NFL in turnover margin. They were second. They were plus 11, second in the NFL in turnover margin a year ago. Picked right up where they left off. Special teams. Blake Grupe had to fight for his job. Goes 4 for 4, including 2 for 2 from 50 plus. And how about Juwan Johnson blocking a punt? It doesn't necessarily go down for as a block because the punt went forward for 11 yards. But 2 plays after that, you're in the end zone on Jamal Williams' 14-yard touchdown run. All that stuff was great. But, y'all, the running game was the story. Not Derek Carr, not the defense, not the special teams, not Dennis Allen, not the crowd, not any of that stuff. The running game was the story. The New Orleans Saints a year ago were 27th in the NFL in rush offense. Only 5 teams were worse at running the football than the Saints a season ago. They went out there against the defense, by the way, that has Derek Brown on its interior and ran for 180 yards. This is the promise. This was the promise of the Klint Kubiak offense. It's 1 week. It's 1 week against a bad team. But Alvin Kamara, who had been declining in production the last 3 years, looked like the Alvin Kamara of year 1, 2, 3. Amazing what happens when you get him on the edge in space with lead blockers in a zone scheme, an outside zone, as opposed to lining up and running right into a defense. It looked awesome. 37 attempts, 180 yards, averaged 4.9 per carry. You saw the wides, the outside zone. You saw motion, which our guy Ross Jackson has written about over at LouisianaSports.net. You saw Taysom Hill both at tailback and fullback. All of that was the fulfillment of a promise of what we had talked about in the offseason with Klint Kubiak coming in. You just didn't know if it would actually work. It worked emphatically. And I want to point this out. I want to give a hat tip to John Stinchcomb. Former Saint offensive lineman, Super Bowl champion at right tackle, Pro Bowl offensive tackle at right tackle. John was here, what was that, a couple of weeks ago? Maybe 2 weeks ago or so?
August 26th.
August 26th. When I don't math very well. So it's a few weeks. John Stinchcomb was here, and we were talking about at the time if Trevor Penning was the guy at right tackle, like if there would be a better option. And the point Stinchcomb made was that Kubiak's offense, while Penning has struggled, there's no denying that. But his point was that this offense was going to help mask some of your deficiencies, not only with Penning, but with the entire offensive line. This was John Stinchcomb, August 26th, on this show.
It's going to rely heavily on movement, outside zone, play action pass. That is to his advantage. I think he was a misfit, if you will, in the Carmichael offense, which is a lot of straight drop back pass for the quarterback. Everyone knows where it's the point of attack is going to get set, and you just have to be able to pass protect. I think that changes considerably once we take the field against Carolina. I think it should really help not only Trevor, but that entire offensive line.
Can we please clip that and share that on all social media and tag John Stinchcomb and give him a ton of praise? I mean, you want to talk about bull freaking eye. Bull's freaking eye is probably how I have to say it instead of bull's eye. I mean, he nailed it. Turns out John Stinchcomb knows a lot about football and playing offensive line. Yes, Trevor Penning had a holding penalty, but what a dramatic difference from the opener a year ago when Arden Key made Trevor Penning look like a peewee football player. Ain't nothing to complain about today. Your first offense scored on all 9 drives. Your defense was opportunistic. It was great. Bryce Young stinks. The Panthers are the worst team in the NFL. They're still pros. And you hung 47 on them and just waxed them. What a way to start the season. I get it. Look, that's the most emphatic opener you've had since the Green Bay opener in 2021 when you won 38-3. That season finished 9-8. You didn't make the playoffs. I'm not dramatically changing any projection for the season, but how could you not be optimistic after watching what you saw? The real challenge comes Sunday in Dallas. By the way, Dallas just went on the road against Cleveland, which was the number 1 defense in the NFL a year ago. The Cleveland Browns were the number 1 defense in the NFL a year ago, and Dallas picked them apart on their home field. So your challenge ratchets up dramatically on Sunday, and it will be a much better gauge of what this team can possibly be. But I'll be damned if I'm not excited to see it. Couldn't have said that 36 hours ago. What a win for the Saints, 47-10 over the Carolina Panthers. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.